Oh my gosh, that's the cutest thumbnail I've ever taken. I think I'm gonna leave it, which probably surprises no one. Hi, hello. So,
Think about your question.
ew,
Once you have the
ew,
wording
no. I had to download an app. I didn't bring any cards. I don't really travel with cards anymore. Free form spread. Love it. Anyway, hi. So it's probably like fairly early US time, almost 6 a.m. I have less than an hour. I made it. So once again, you get to see the kitchen of my friend's place. Last time we were in his kitchen was 2019, maybe 2020. I think 2020. Like February 2020, like right before everything went down. Anyway, Patrick, why are you live? I don't know, girl. I hardly ever barely know. Okay, this thing forever. I didn't bring a deck, but I do have um this app, and it's the Witch's Tarot app. See? Anyway, so I arrived yesterday. I guess quick update. The flight was, I don't know, I wasn't as comfortable as I thought I might be. I flew with the first airline, I think, that I flew out here with. Well, technically, no. It's like a sister airline. It's in the same network. Mm, but yeah. Anyway, I've been flying with a different airline recently, and I don't know if the other airline has more leg room. I think it might. Um, so one of my legs is a little crampy. But that's fine. I arrived yesterday. It was like sunny, but the kind of sunny where like the sun is kind of low in the sky, where it kind of blinds you. That was the first time experience for here. Um, the place of fog and overcast skies, and not always, but I feel like I have a decent. The sky, it'll be kind to me some days. Anyway, excuse me. So yeah, that was that. And then I was thinking, I think it was on the bus, not necessarily entirely purposefully, but I just had the thought of like, so I say that I have a gift of connection. And I think a month ago now, which is kind of wild, um, it's like I got a personal reading. I got two. They were amazing. I loved them. Um, I don't know if I've said it, but like there was something that came up in the personal reading that's related to stuff that I used to get all the time. And I was like, well, why didn't you just say whatever? And then I'm like, girl, like if someone had said it, I literally would not have known until maybe this year. Because I think that was about January, February, where I made the connection. Well, I made the connection, I think, at the end of last year, but at the beginning of this year, I found the word. And then the word came up, and I was like, oh, I know what that is. It's yet another one of those things that I don't do or whatever. Um, but I was thinking because I was talking about the self, inner self, higher self. And with my gift of connection, it's kind of like connection, influence, force. Um, and force meaning it's like it's basically, in essence, to make a declarative statement and to put the full weight I guess, of one's autonomy, sovereignty, personal spiritual authority, whatever, behind it. And to stand behind it and not waver in it. To basically be unchallengeable, but I don't even know if that's a word. But yeah, anyway, that was a thought I had. I feel like I had a thought about Scorpio season. Yeah, so Scorpio season came out with this energy of like something emerging from the depths. Like Scorpio's a lot lighter than it used to be, or than it typically can be. And it has something to do with the maturation of Mars. Also, with the, I guess it could be the maturation of Mars tied to the movements of Pluto. Um, as Pluto enters a new era, one connected to a greater, I want to almost say a greater collective of people, but it's more so, it's like peoples. As Pluto moves towards or through the energy of peoples, how it's like a collective noun, like a flock. It's a flock, not whatever. Like a flock of birds, you can have 10 birds that are flying together, right? But that's a flock. So the collective noun, flock, referencing more than one. So it's moving sort of in these, in a collective noun way. And it was also interesting that when Death came out in reverse the last time I saw it, it had a feeling of like something coming back to life rather than like being reborn. Anyway, I don't know what these cards mean, but we're going to pull them. You get to like, this is probably the worst. Oh, wait, I can move it. Okay. That's what we're going to do today. I don't know why. And I'm just going to flip them. And we'll see what's up. I feel like my brain is just like, I had so many things to say. The bottom of this pyramid is the Ace of Swords. Wow. That's interesting. I kind of want to almost like two path this. Almost. But maybe not. So the Ace of Swords almost, I guess, related to what I was just saying in terms of like the Ace of Swords almost it's carrying this feeling of the more we know, the more we can know. Or the more we know, the more we can be told, which allows us to know even more. And it's basically like having a common language with someone. If you and someone else share a common language, it's pretty easy to like teach, to learn, to study, to do all kinds of stuff for a free flowing communication of ideas. Now, like, regardless of like the perception of those ideas and how well one can take into information and blah, 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 whatever. It's like having a common language, having words enough to express oneself, um, is this feeling. That's what the Ace of Swords is feeling like. And so I was, of course, I was watching a show just now. Kirsty, hey, let's go. Right? It was like so foggy this morning. I was like, I'm back. But yesterday, like the sun was out. I was saying earlier, like it was kind of blinding. I was like, oh my gosh. Because it was kind of low, and I'm like not trying to get hit, when I'm crossing the street. um, but yeah, same time zone. When was I guess it was like December, so less than a year ago. And I'm like low key on the lowest of keys, maybe mid key. I'm mid key, like maybe considering trying to like extend my stay. Um, because it might be possible. So I had a feeling. I was like, one of these days I'm gonna go to London and just not come back to the States. And maybe it's now. It's funny because like one of my brothers, um, I think it was before all of the lockdowns and stuff. He had went to go like visit his girlfriend. And then when all the lockdowns and stuff happened, he was like quarantined there. And then, they ended up getting married and whatever. It's just like one of those you go somewhere and you don't necessarily expect to stay types of things. So maybe I'll get my CV together and start, excuse me, applying for stuff out here. I really want to. I want so many things, and also at the same time, I don't know what I want. So yeah, you know, I was like, I was like, nobody here knows me, but these are my people. That's how I was feeling yesterday. I was like, these are my people. You could say I belong here. Let's see. Let's flip a coin. Let's flip a coin. If Google even Bixby, we'll ask Bixby. If Bixby says tails, then I'll stay. If Bixby says heads, then I'll have to head back to America in a few weeks. Womp womp. Hey Bixby, flip a coin, please.
All right, here comes the flip. Tails it is.
Bixby said stay in the UK. Wait. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. How are you? I hope everything's going well, or at least as well as can be. Um, ooh, see, I'm like, maybe I should. I feel like every now and then. Well, I guess so. I was settled. I don't know if things are like in flux or whatever, but I was thinking about the direction that I wanted my life, the direction that I was about to take. And it felt like academia, right? I wanted to get my master's, PhD, and then like be a professor or whatever, because I kind of like love that for me. Um, but then I don't know, I kind of started to feel like something might shift within the next few years. Um, and I guess I don't know, it doesn't mean that I still can't do whatever, but with the energy of that, like almost like something shimmered out in the distance. And I was like, oh, that introduces a new wrinkle or a new fold in the plan. And what will I was like, I guess it was more so like, would that path be flexible enough? Um, so I don't know. I feel like every day, few weeks, month, it changes. But then I got here and I'm like, I could. So I don't know. Anyway, I've only been here for roughly 24 hours. Um, and I feel like now I'm on a nap. I don't know. It was just so. Anyway, anyway, that's not why we're. Well, it's not why we're here. Um, Back to this Ace of Swords. It feels like because our knowledge or lexicon has expanded, that there's some new information that we're going to be able to comprehend and understand. It also feels like, though, I mean, it does feel like that. But going back to like math class and stuff like that, it's because we have such a firm understanding or a good enough understanding of the basics or the fundamentals of something that now it can be built upon. So I'm actually going to go to the left. Excuse me. I'm going to go to the oh no, to the left and then wrap around back to this Ace of Swords. Yeah. Because I don't know if it's like at the end of this, we're going to know enough to go even further. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's see. Next card is the Knight of Wands. I can like zoom in. The Knight of Wands adds an interesting. Well, I guess the Knight of Wands coming after this Ace of Swords, it gives it whatever this information is, whatever this expanded knowledge, whatever we're capable of conceiving and conceptualizing now. It's almost something that like excites one to action. Almost like when a kid or anybody, but for the metaphor, a kid like learns a new word or something, and now they're like using it everywhere, and they want to tell everybody that like they know something. And it doesn't even have to be a word; like it could be like a magic trick that somebody like finally nails, and then they want to like go out and like show people. And again, like we're gonna wrap back around to this Ace of Swords, but it feels like it also fuels a thirst for further knowledge or development. The next card is the Magician. Wow. Speaking of a magic trick, it's the Magician. There's some. Oh, no. I'm not trying to turn the Magician in reverse. I'm trying to zoom in. Can I click it? Yes. Okay. It's the Magician. It almost feels like this lemniscate is descending from the heavens. It's like it's descending. Okay, wait, I'm using the laptop webcam. Okay. It's descending from the heavens, and it feels like, you know how sometimes in like movies and shows and stuff, something will like, oh, we just got that card in the Diceology, an arrow that pierces the sky and parts the clouds or something like that. But instead of an arrow, it's just like something that descends and it's like the clouds part as this thing like comes down. And it's like this ring of roses, maybe on the edge of the cloud. And at the same time, it's like these fairies that are finding the Magician, almost like something is signaled to the natural world. Something is signaled to. Oh my gosh, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just trying to move it. I'm not trying to angle these cards weird. Oh my gosh. There's also, because the Knight of Wands holds the wand. It's almost like, I think I know in the Fable Makers animated tarot, pretty much from page to night, the golden swirls like up the top half of the wand, so above where they hold it. But I think on the king, it's like the whole thing. Also in the Mystic Mondays tarot, I think that's where I saw it first. The King of Wands, like there was something about where the glow was on the wand. I think we saw either the knight. I think it was the Knight of Wands because I'm pretty sure it wasn't the daughter. Where like somebody was holding. I think the King of Wands was holding it, and where the King of Wands held the wand, it glowed. But when the Knight of Wands held it, it like glowed at the top instead of where the king was holding it. Almost, kind of, not necessarily. In a way, going back to that, the staff versus the focus of the magician. And that was in the fairy tarot cards. And the magician card, well, the magician had both. Excuse me. So the energy actually came out before then. Because it was like there's the staff that someone can hold, and the staff does a lot of the work. You just have to like visualize an outcome. And the staff is like a thing that'll make it happen if the conditions are right. And then there was the orb that is like the arcane focus or a focus. And in that, it's like it helps, maybe it like aggregates ether and processes it into mana that can be used. But the magician has more control. Again, almost going to this Ace of Swords, going back to this Ace of Swords. Because with the Ace of Swords, it's like when you have the staff, there's a lot of stuff that you don't have to know. It's like if you always use a calculator, right? You never have to learn basic arithmetic because you have a calculator. But once you know basic arithmetic, you don't necessarily need the calculator anymore. So there are more things that you can do that you're capable of doing that you can interact with or whatever without the use of that calculator. But there's still something that's provided to you, like the data, the temperature, the concentration of this, the whatever of that. Like all of that is provided to you, but now you have the internal resources to formulate your own whatever based off of the conditions, right? And then eventually it's like the magician doesn't even need the focus. So that's where like you can sense or just, it's like because you don't have to rely on mana anymore, you can tap into ether in the metaphor. And when you tap into the ethers of like the natural world, you just kind of sort of get a feeling for, okay, the temperature is this. It feels like the concentration of whatever in the air is about here. It feels like the air today is particularly moist. So there's a lot of water in the air, or it's dry. So there's not a lot of water. If your creation depends on water, then you'll have to account for that and adjust for that. Like the staff would do all of that by itself. You just have to envision the thing. And the staff would go, oh, not enough water, too much water, adjust, blah, 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 whatever. But it's like you get to the point where I don't know where this metaphor is going. Honestly. Um, but it's like I guess like, for example, and it may not be a good one. Take it if it resonates. If it doesn't, don't take it. I feel like we're like heavy into take it as it resonates territory because honestly, because of what Scorpio season feels like and kind of sort of what Libra season and Virgo season were. But because of what Scorpio felt, I guess that would be since like uh April then. Honestly, to me, it feels like it's a lot of Mars and our relationship with Mars and how mature or developed Mars is. Anyway, what was I even saying? I don't remember. I was like, take it as it resonates because this is what. Oh, it was like I was gonna give an example. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's like, let's say that you live your life completely unaware of like astrological transits and all of the spiritual stuff, right? And then you have your spiritual awakening or whatever, and then like now you're aware of transits and portals and the solar flares and all of this stuff. And it's like, so when we're unaware of all of that, it's kind of like the wand. We put out a prayer or a manifestation or whatever, and things just kind of sort of collude or co-align to make maybe at least some of them happen. And then we go from the step to the focus where it's like, okay, well, these are the transits, this is the energy, this portal is coming up, this is sort of like um what's this? What's that word? Like circulating, the collective, the solar flares, whatever. There's like all of this stuff that we can use, that we have the opportunity to use to for whatever goal, purpose, reason, or to be whatever our relationship with that stuff is. And then it's like a step beyond that is when you no longer have to, not that anyone necessarily has to, but when you no longer have to pay attention to the transits. And it doesn't matter if it's a class X or whatever solar flare, and it doesn't matter what's circulating the collective. It's like you tapping into, tuning into, it's like not necessarily raw energy, but it feels like threads of stuff in the energetic atmosphere. Um, and being able to like pull on that. But again, it's nothing that's necessarily like tracked or told or entirely dependent upon the circumstances that outline or create physical conditions or the conditions of the 3D manifested world or universe, right? Because it's like if the solar flares are happening, it's happening wherever the planets are, they're transiting there. But those are almost like bounds, and you can work outside of the globe or outside of the box. That's what it's feeling like, at least. All that from them. Yeah, because that was the part of like the fairies finding the magician. There's something about this magician. And another thing with the Knight of Wands is the Knight of Wands carries so much. It's almost like conviction and stuff like that, but not necessarily, which almost makes it more like raw or seem more honest. Um, because the Knight of Wands is just like excitedly doing something, right? So, like, let's say someone gets a superpower and one person gets the power of invisibility, and they're like, oh my gosh, I got the power of invisibility. Now I can start robbing banks and never get caught. The person isn't necessarily thinking, like, let me make a moral, ethical choice decision, whatever. It's just like in the moment, there are things that are revealed about the person by what they choose to engage with and how they choose to utilize a gift or knowledge or whatever. Right. And then someone else is like, oh, I got this. And it's just an example. With the Knight of Wands, it's revealed. And so there's something about the heart that is revealed. And there's something about energies that align with certain um, conditions or whatever. I'm watching the time because somebody's supposed to be here, and I guess I'm here now, so it's fine. Um, well, I'm okay. Let me try to stay on track because I remember there was like the barbed ward or something. There have been energies that are not aligned to any specific morality or code of ethics. It's like something that responds to conviction, something that responds to like devotion or whatever. So while, and that would kind of sort of be like the power of invisibility. The power of invisibility itself can fall upon anybody. It doesn't have to only fall upon someone who will use it righteously or only fall upon someone who's like kind of shady, right? Because like, what would you do with invisibility? Why don't you want to be seen? Um, that itself is neutral, but the align, like we align in certain ways as we utilize whatever. And there are energies that sort of like um, care about alignment because of how they align. It's almost like D&D, how you have chaotic, lawful, and neutral, and then you have like good and evil. So you can have like chaotic good or neutral good, lawful good, and then there's true neutral, right? Where it's not, or chaotic neutral, I guess, is kind of the true neutral. I think maybe I don't remember. It's kind of like that, but in D&D there are also like deities. The deities in the game, certain spells fall within those like alignments. So like this is a, if you are not you, if someone is like lawful evil, but they align with a deity that is like lawful good, there's no cohesion there. Probably not very much cohesion in that. But it's more so like what finds us as we're in this space. That's what it feels like. These little fairies find the magician as the magician is doing whatever to cause this thing to descend or whatever. I don't know. Next card at the apex is the Nine of Coins. Wow. I feel like she looks a little different when I don't get to like actually blow her face up. It's like I actually see her face. Um, the Nine of Coins is next. This Nine of Coins is interesting. This feels like a personal portal or gateway. This is a personal portal, gateway, or a space that like we carve out. Next card is the Lovers. Whoa. So this is the part where um so there's this personal portal, gateway, or space that we sort of carve out. And then with the Lovers, it's like we're met there. There's something about her dress that I thought I saw in another card. Something about the way her dress or her clothes, her garb, like drapes along the ground. That's just like, it draws my attention for some reason. And then, in the Lover's card, her dress also touches the ground. Is it the same lady? It could be. We find true love when we are in ourselves, like grounded and whole and stuff like that. More so like a compliment than a completion. The last card is the Ten of Swords with the oof. Sorry. I was gonna say with the Owl of Athena, but then the guy, it made me think of the guy that was over here that found the Nine of Pentacles girl. That's what I was like, oof. Now it could be that like these are two energies that meet at the Lovers and then proceed out. So like this is the masculine path of the Ten of Swords, and then the feminine path is the one of the Nine of Pentacles. And they meet at the Lovers, and then it like branches out from there, almost giving it a sort of Martian energy. Because if I were to pull after that, okay, well, we're going to have to do a little finessing. I'll just pull 2 cards. But you can see how like it would go out to start to form the glyph for Mars if they meet at the Lovers. Which I guess if you turn it, I don't know if there is a way to turn it where it'd be Venus. Well, let's see. What's these 2 cards? The Eight of Swords and Strength are the 2 cards that branch off of the Lovers. Now, if I take those together, let's clarify this Eight of Swords. I love that I can just like drag the cards wherever. Clarifying the Eight of Swords is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands in this deck, in particular, for me, is minor strength. I think the Knight of Wands is pre-strength. The Seven of Wands is minor strength. The Knight of Wands is pre-strength, and then strength is actual strength. So we see the whole strength family here. Do what you must and come what may is almost this Eight of Swords, Seven of Wands. But that's more so that like that sovereignty, autonomy, authority type, like even in the space of the Eight of Swords, where one may not know everything, one may feel like the world is against them or feels like they stand alone. Maybe not necessarily knowing how something will unfold or how to move something forward, but with the Seven of Wands, it's to sort of maintain one's position regardless. It's like, because it can be easy to be in like the Eight of Swords and then to like waver and then to go like, oh, well, I guess this isn't happening, or I guess that isn't happening, or whatever. Right. And then like the thing that we put out, it's almost like in the Lego games, how things are like, I guess it's just assembled, it's an assembly line. And as long as we are holding like a lever down, something is proceeding along an assembly line and it's slowly being assembled until it's completed, and like you get the car, truck, plane, automobile, train, whatever. Gotta go